Hola Masala, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about our honeymoon in the Philippines.
The point is that our honeymoon almost didn't happen, and as you can see in the title of this video, we I don't know how we made it.
Welcome to Masala of Cultures.
A show by Luisa and Ashwin.
Join us to connect and grow through differences. So, of course, it was a very challenging experience because we made a couple of mistakes. But at the same time, we were also able to end up having a great trip. And that's because we did a couple of great things. So, that's what we're going to talk about today. And let's start with the mistakes.
Yes, I think our main two mistakes were one, trusting that the visa process was going to be on time. And the second mistake was making a connection flight in a country where we needed a visa. But that's normal in certain cases. But in this case, we make the connection flight with different airlines. And that was the main issue.
Yes. So, talking about the first issue, I needed a visa to go to the Philippines. Luisa did not need because she's a Colombian and Colombians do not need a visa to go to the Philippines, right, for a few days. So I went to the e-visa website and I saw that it takes 7 to 12 business days to get a Philippine visa, right? So I was like, okay, I have all the documents and then I just go ahead and book all the hotels and the planes. So we had everything in order, right? And then we were having 15, 16 business days, and the website said we'll get it within 7 to 12. So we were just confident. And we applied with everything we had. But they did not respond to any of our emails or phone calls, and it just,
They just didn't respond.
yeah. We tried so many ways. We tried sending them emails, phone calls. We tried contacting the social media account of the tourism board. They gave another couple of emails, but ultimately it did not work. And
We
it
gave up.
was, yeah, we almost gave up. It was a Sunday when we had the first flight, but we couldn't get the visa on time, so we just missed it. And we also had to cancel a couple of Airbnbs because we were still able to get some money out of it. And we were just waiting. And so let's say this is Wednesday. Wednesday morning, I get an email finally from the e-visa platform saying that they need one more document, which is just a copy of her passport, Luisa's passport, right? And I was like, okay, we still have 1.5 weeks for the trip, so let me just submit this document.
What?
And
Okay, continue.
yeah, like the whole trip was for 2 weeks, and we lost 3 days already.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, okay, we still have some days left, and I was just okay, let me try submitting the document. I submitted it, and within a couple of hours they just gave me the visa.
It's so frustrating. I don't know if you have ever felt something like that, but it is very frustrating when you make everything by the rules. I mean, like, if you give us, especially for government things, you try to be as strict with the guidelines as they mention. So we make it fast, efficient. We try to be as clear as possible. And then when you don't receive the same, pues of course it's frustrating, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And well, the good thing we did was we didn't cancel everything. So we only canceled where we could get all the cancellations, the booking
Refunds.
fee, the
Mhm.
refunds.
Mm-hmm.
So that did make sense. And this Wednesday we get the visa, and immediately we decide to carry on with the trip. We booked the tickets, but this is where we made the second mistake, right? We didn't book a connecting flight through a single airline, but we booked two different airlines. So from here, from India to Singapore and Singapore to Philippines in two different airlines.
And I think we were so messy in our head because it had happened in such a short period of time that we just booked without realizing that you also needed a visa. What's the name? Transport visa?
A transit visa.
Transit visa, exactly. A transit visa just to pass the immigration point in Singapore. And that was, yeah, the second mistake.
Yeah. So if we, let's say, we fly in Air Asia from India to Singapore, Singapore to Philippines, the same one, right? Then we don't need a transit visa because we don't need to pass the immigration in Singapore. But in this case, we booked in Air Asia from here to Singapore, and from Singapore to Philippines, we booked through the Philippines Airlines. So that's not possible unless I have a visa to pass through immigration in the connecting country, which is Singapore in this case. So I did not have it. And when we were trying to check in India, they just said, no, it's not possible. They said,
We
she
need,
can go, but I cannot. So we took a few minutes to think.
okay, but parenthesis. There was a big drama back in the house. So we live with your parents and your brother. And as we didn't plan to travel that day, like everything was very unexpected. So your parents were not in the city, right? No, they were not in the city. And his brother went out. So we were the only ones in the house. When we left, you closed the outside gate of the house with a lock. And the keys of the lock remained inside.
Yes. So my brother was not able to get inside, and he had to spend like an hour trying to break the lock with a neighbor. So
Like we were in the middle of the process of the Singapore visa, talking in the ticket counter, and then your brother called like, "Where are the keys?"
yeah, well, it's very funny to think about it right now. And yeah, going back to the ticket problems.
Yeah. So you were saying, I mentioned that because somehow you were saying that we took some minutes out, right? And in that moment, I started a mini dramatic attack. What if this is a message from God not to travel? Everything is very weird. Like, we don't get the visa on time. Now we cannot get the flight. Now your brother is stuck outside of the house. How will he enter the house? So I was losing faith in that moment.
And we literally had just one option other than going home. The one option we had was to book another flight immediately on the spot with the same airline that we were traveling from India to Singapore. And so we just wanted to confirm that if it's a possibility. So we went and asked to the people in the check-in counter, and they said yes, if we book it through the same airline, they can give the boarding pass from Singapore to Philippines in India directly, so we don't need to pass through immigration in Singapore. So of course it involves in buying a couple of new tickets, like literally hours before the travel. So it's going to be more expensive than the ones that you usually buy like a month before or 2 months before. So like you were kind of against it.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I was losing faith. I don't know if it was worth it to spend so much into something we didn't know if we were going to be able to even pass the
It makes
airport.
sense because like we had a lot of challenges to even get my visa and get to the airport that day. So for me it was like we had to go through so much to get here, and I'm not going to back down now. Like I'm not going to give up now. So I was like, let's just give this final push, this last try. And then if it doesn't happen, if it's not in our control, then well and good. And
Do you think I see that we have these two ways of viewing life, of seeing life, sorry. And for you it was like I have made such a big effort. all these obstacles are only going to make me push harder, a little harder, right? But for me, it was like there are so many obstacles. Maybe I am being protected from something, and I think both are equally fine for different situations. Like in some events, it's going to make you go forward, but if we didn't get the good result, it will have been like, you see, it was not worth it. But in other cases, um, like mine, if we had continued my view of, okay, maybe it's not the right thing to do because so many obstacles are for a reason, then we will have missed a great opportunity. So then you did like a wild card. He used a wild card to convince me.
Well, I just said, trust me, and if it doesn't work, it's on me. But I feel like we have to try this once. And
Trust me this once.
yeah, just trust me this once.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully you did.
Yes, I was like in silence, and I took a deep breath, and I was like, okay, okay, man, I trust you. I trust you, and no matter what, it's not on you, it's on us. And let's see what happens.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And like we were still of course anxious, what if they did not let us pass, or like there's many things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
So usually whenever we take a trip, we just post some pictures on Instagram, things like that. But on this particular trip, we were like, no, we're not going to post anything until we land in
Weird thing.
Philippines,
Uh-huh.
right? And yep, we were able to land in the Philippines, and from that moment onwards, everything was so smooth. And this is where we're going to talk about the things that we did right.
I think if we had missed the chance, we would have missed the best honeymoon experience ever, because we had so much fun. It was amazing. Like, I love you, Philippines. Please take me back.
Yeah. And of course, like it was all a last minute plan, the whole honeymoon. So just weeks before we planned everything, we booked everything. The visa was almost not like coming in time.
It didn't come
But
in time.
yeah, it didn't come in time. But still, it came. And we were able to take the trip and everything. But the reason why everything went perfectly after landing there is because we did get some of the planning right. Like we asked a lot of our friends who visited the place before
That's right.
for recommendations,
Mhm.
and we researched online, and we also like checked prices on different platforms, like in person, in the hotel where we stayed, and also online. So we were able to make the right decisions, and we just had a great trip because of that.
Yeah. So that is one of the successes we made. It was before even arriving to Philippines, we researched so much. We asked friends and we asked a family of friends about their opinions and suggestions for the trip. We also made a very clear itinerary,
Mm.
a very clear itinerary to make sure that we were using the most, or we were doing the most out of our time there, but still relaxing,
Yeah.
because we like to take things slow, right?
Yeah.
Especially for a honeymoon, you just want to be with your partner and enjoy. So that was the second success. And finally, the third success was that we were emotionally grounded. When I was starting to
Panic.
when I was starting to panic, you managed to help me out, get grounded, and that made us so clear in the vision. So it just made everything easier, because we didn't get angry at each other, we didn't get sad, or for example, when they didn't send the visa on time, we knew that it was a boomer, like, okay, this is bad, but it is what it is. That I think every single episode we have said the same thing. That's my motto in life. It is what it is, and we just continued our lives when the visa didn't come.
Yeah.
And when the visa came, we were excited, a little anxious, but we were also okay. If it happens, it's fine. If it doesn't happen, it will be fine. The point is that we are together.
Yeah. I can still remember here in India when we were at the check-in counter and they said we cannot pass because I don't have a Singapore visa, and they said come and let us know when you want to go outside the airport, because once you enter you cannot go outside without any of the staff members there. So it was like, oh wow, all this wait for the visa, all this last minute bookings and
Packing. I had forgotten about the packing.
Yeah,
We
like-
didn't pack anything, right? So after the visa, it was like, okay, we're going to the Philippines, and in 1 hour, we packed everything.
insane. Yeah, like packing in just a couple of hours.
And we packed everything, man.
Yeah,
Wow,
we
we were
didn't miss
so-
anything. So, and like those words from that airline staff, it was just so disappointing. But I'm just glad that we still had the little bit of energy we needed at that moment in time, a little bit of hope to just push it through and make it happen. And I'm also glad that you didn't get pissed off of the situation, because the whole visa delay was because of me, because I was the one who needed the visa, like you did not. And you were also very supportive at that time, so I'm grateful for that as well, so thank you. And I think it's just a host of many different things that went wrong and then went well at the end. So for me, the biggest lesson out of it is just whatever is going to happen will happen.
Mm-hmm.
You just shouldn't give up. You should keep giving your 100% till the very end. And as long as it's in your control, you have to give an effort. Just don't give up. Yeah.
Okay. I think my lesson, there were two lessons. The most superficial one is don't trust the visa process and don't trust government timings that much, because you don't know what can happen. And you should prepare according to that. And the second one, the most profound one, is definitely you are my I know I have my emotional stability, and I know how to control in many cases, but when you use the trust me card, it makes me feel protected. So my biggest lesson is, okay, sometimes you just have to give up the desire to control the situation, right? And trust. And maybe for some people it's too easy, but for me it's not.
Yeah, sometimes you have to trust on me and sometimes I have to trust on you, because there may be moments where I cannot see the end line. I do not have the final bit of hope that's needed, but that's where you come in and you help me, and that's where we help each other out in moments like that, and it's the whole point of being together. So yeah, this should be a great lesson for anybody.
I mean, if you're in a relationship, I chose to be here freely with all my senses, and why would I not trust you if I know that I made a good choice?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my biggest lesson.
Yes, and once again reiterating on the government processes, you may have everything that they require and you may apply well in advance, but still things can go wrong.
Yeah.
So make sure to have that in mind. Make sure to know that it won't happen just because you have everything, because you are putting control, you're giving control to an external agency, external person. So it's not always going to happen, but just make sure that you can do the things that you have in your control in the right way. If they say 12 days, take 30 days.
Yes.
Apply 30 days in advance. That should be the minimum. If you apply even before that, well and good. So yeah, those are some of the lessons we took away.
Absolutely. I think a lesson we got from one of our teachers in the US, her name is Professor V, and she used to say, fail to plan, plan to fail. And I think that applied for us. We like planning a lot, we enjoy planning, but in this case, we didn't take into account the unforeseen events or the things that were out of our control. In this case, the government, for the second time in our lives, the government timings hasn't been very efficient. Actually, the third time,
Yeah.
your visa, my visa, and now Philippines visa.
Yeah.
So keep in mind that some things are out of your control and include that in your planning, because if not for our previous itinerary, we will have had a big issue inside the Philippines.
Absolutely.
But thanks to having a clear path, it made it so smooth, and I loved it. I loved every single place we went to. I loved the people. I loved absolutely everything there. It was amazing.
Such a beautiful country, such wonderful people,
Yes.
and we never felt once that we were in danger, or we never felt anxious of any situation. Everything went amazingly well, and we were in 3 different places in different parts of the country, but still, each and every single part was just amazing. And if you're planning your honeymoon anytime in the future, we just wish you the best, and let's see in the next episode.
Thank you.
And don't forget to check out our website, masalaofcultures.com, where we have a lot of guides, blogs, and content on intercultural relationships. So, yeah, that's it. That's it from us for today.
Nandri, Vanakkam.